If we look at the global picture, why do you think, why do you suppose that the United States are so much in favor of the Kosovo independence? It would be naive to think that they're in it for the human rights or that they're friends with Albanian people. They have to have an agenda.
Well, I actually, I'll ask you, what is the agenda? We're not rich with oil. What is the agenda? We don't have oil. We don't have massive any big economic potential. Of course, I'm not naive, but I would ask you back the question: what do you think there is an interest of America to be here? We would give them a good military base, but then to get a good military base for an army which we don't have money to support anyway, it's in our own interest too. So somehow I can tell you that. Simply, it's a good strategic place for America to be. It's the most friendliest. Albanians are the most friendliest Muslims to them. We're majority Muslims, and we think America is the biggest hero in the world. So I don't think they will find this in many places of the world. Americans are not liked in many places of the world. So I have heard comments that America has an interest, but honestly, I have never managed to come up with any answer as to what is America apart from this pure strategic interest and being in the place and having a place where they can comfortably be and not being risked by local population. I have no other reason, because we don't have oil or we don't have anything to give back to Americans. So I cannot answer your question of what else is there.
What about the mining potential in Kosovo? Kosovo is renowned in the Balkans for its mining potential.
Yes, it's renowned for mining potential, but let's see how that will go. In a sense that for that mine to work, there needs a lot of investment to come in. We have had 8 years of peace, and we have not had major investors come in and pull out that mining. So if that mining is used, we are very happy, not only for the rest of the region to get rich, but for Kosovo to have 24-hour electricity. Imagine, yes, I know that Kosovo is rich with lignite, which makes electricity, but actually Kosovo suffers from lack of electricity. So the myth of how rich Kosovo is and reality don't match, because because normally we don't even have 24-hour electricity, but supposedly we should have. We are a very rich mine and land. I mean, yes, it might be so, but let's see how this implements itself in practice. After the status resolution, we'll see whether we will get so many investors to come in and take this lignite out, and in what way will this happen.
I would like to ask you, our viewers would be interested in what was the historical role of Slovenia in the Kosovo conflict, if you can tell us something about that.
Luckily, Slovenia has always been seen the first image of Slovenia's involvement in the conflict was, I remember, traditionally here it's seen as at least the pro independence and the pro human rights country, republic in former Yugoslavia. For example, I remember even in 1980s when there was a miners' strike, Slovenia got together lots of funds and support in the parliament at that time, which was so difficult in 1980s to talk about human rights in former Yugoslavia. So Albanians went into strike demanding more rights, more human rights from Serbia, and Slovenia supported it, supported the miners' strike, which meant a lot of us. And I remember as a little kid all these funds that came from Slovenians to help the miners at that time. And since then, I think I don't know, maybe living in Slovenia you don't notice, but living in Kosovo, the Slovenian companies and Slovenian business are the most advanced here. Out of all the countries in the region, and even foreign European investment, we have a lot of Slovenian Slovenian investment in Kosovo. So it's a country which has been seen as an obvious partner to make business in the future. Our second mobile operator, which is the biggest business we've had so far in Kosovo, has been bought by Slovenian mobile company. So that is going to bring in, for example, I know that is going to bring in my line of business, in advertising and in media, is going to bring in lots of new funds. Suddenly we will have two mobile companies, not one, and it's definitely a country which is seen as like in the 80s, a country that will help the economic development of Kosovo, and it will be its strategic partner. It's seen as an obvious strategic partner because basically say even something as banal as the Alpsko mleko is something that all the Kosovars use rather than their own milk. So Slovenian products and Slovenian image here is very trusted and is seen as the most obvious partner for Kosovo.
I would just like to come back to a subject we did before about the global players, for example, United States and Russia. Russia is saying, opposing to the U.S., it's saying that the Kosovo independence cannot be legal because the United Nations resolution, I think it was 1244, is strictly against separating a Serbian country. I mean, what do you think? Would there be any consequences globally? Because Russia is afraid for her territories as well.
I think there would be, yes, but there would be a consequence for Europe if it doesn't stand up to Russia. Globally, if Europe cannot, for something as small as Kosovo, to stand up for Russia, then tomorrow they're going to have to be quiet when Russia calls the shots on the gas pumps. Then Russia will want to interfere in other countries and say to Europe, back up like they did for missile defense and all these sort of things. So it's important for Europe to show, not to let Russia be a bully, because Russia is trying now to position itself through Kosovo, because Russia actually doesn't care about Kosovo. It cares about its strategic position and showing Americans and Europeans that they have to be listened to. Well, actually, Europe should stand up to what will become a big bully, and Russia will become, is on a way, as we know, with its leadership and the way its politics is run, is going to be a bully unless someone stops it. Well, Europe at the moment is behaving like a hesitant, very hesitant and reluctant leadership. So that they can change that in Kosovo, and that's why Kosovo is important to all of three these players: European Union, Russia, and America. And they have to have a strong word and not to be afraid of Russia. That's what I think.
United States strongly favors Kosovo independence. Do you think that the United States, I mean, it's a hypothetical question, of course, do you think that they would allow, for example, Hispanic Americans in the South? There is a big majority of them in some federal states. Do you think that it would allow them to, for example, to separate from the rest of the United States?
Hispanic Americans haven't been, whether they haven't been abused by Americans as we have been abused by Serbs. So I think it's a banal example you're taking. We had a war. We were all expelled by Milosevic regime. 1 million people, half of Kosovo was expelled. America didn't try to expel them. So it's not like we're starting from scratch and you can compare Kosovo Albanians to Basques and to Hispanic Americans and to God knows what, because we had a war. We had a war that convinced us we don't want to be in the same state as Serbia. We have pretty good reason, I must say. I was a part of the ethnic cleansing. I was thrown out of Kosovo to Albania, and I never want to be led by Belgrade. Purely and simple as that. You cannot compare the way America treats Hispanic Americans to the way Serbia has treated Kosovo Albanians.